Hi, my name is Jay Martin. Thank you for watching TW Plays. We're doing a game on Aosta Valley, which is a game that I don't think I've ever. Why does it do that? A game I don't think I've ever posted a map. I don't ever think I've posted a game on, but it's a neat map. It's a valley, and there's all these houses in here, and I presume that the rules of this tournament that we're watching, you can't go into the houses, but the map is not symmetrical. That's why it doesn't get played very much. And there's all these ridges that kind of determine where you can position your units. So this is kind of more competitive players would shy away from a map like this, but it is neat to see it get played. The game that we're watching now is part of a tournament that some old friends of mine are kind of putting together. Crucible. I don't know the full details, and in fact, I was only kind of informed about it earlier this afternoon, so I'm not really in the vibe. But they did post this replay, and I thought it was cute, so I wanted to do a game on it just for nostalgia factors on this map in particular. Now, playing in this game, let me consult my notes. Spain here is Dincy, and then Ottoman here is Crucible. And then going to spawn on the other side of the map is going to be Lanzer is Ottoman, and Fed is GB. And we're in fast forward mode to hopefully get you to that. But I think the defining characteristics of this map, I mean, we seem, based on the deployment of the armies, interested in this corridor here, and then obviously this section here. So the players have spawned now, and we have a second Ottoman player. This would be Lanzer, and the GB is Fed. And both Ottoman armies seem to be marching up this corridor. And again, they're doing this thing that players do these days that I don't completely understand, as they charge their shooter cab to try to get command of important terrain, but I don't see any important terrain here. Everybody's got a forest. All right, so I don't really get this. It's a thing that people do. Initially, when I looked at the map and I saw a Spanish player, I was like, oh, guerrillas would be really good on this. You could park a unit somewhere over here, maybe. And then Theodore told me that guerrillas weren't allowed in the tournament, so that's boring. Boring rules, sir. Let the Spanish do what they're good at. And it looks like both teams want to fight for position in this corridor. Now, I do think, let's zoom out a little bit. This passageway here might be important, because let's suppose that you gain control of this corridor. You could turn here. So strategically thinking about this map, I think this area, having access to this area, might be important, which would mean you'd have to push either team up or down to get you access to this corridor to potentially flank here. What I don't particularly understand is why the Spanish player is deploying so narrow here, and why the GB player has all these infantry units lagging behind that could maybe take up a position here. More on this later. This is going to become important later in the game. But think about a potential British infantry in this position. Think about that. So what we have is both Ottoman players now have infantry in this section of the game. And I can hold you down the dots to show you down who's who. Infantry looks like it's going to be committed here. And it kind of seems like both players are privileging this location. Now, the rules of the tournament they call them control points, or I they call them control points. And if you control the prized territory, then you'll eventually win the game. It forces the other team to attack you. So it's possible this, and I haven't looked in the maps or anything, but it's possible this little junction area is a control point. It looks like Janissaries are being committed very early in the battle. Yeah, they're going after an infantry unit here. I'm not sure what Crucible is thinking. Why is he charging 2 Janissaries at 1 unit? Crucible's a better player than I am, so he must have a reason, but a bunch of squares go up because GB Cab is threatening the line, and I don't think that matters much. Janissaries go in and they're actually running away from them. I would just countercharge your cab with the Janissaries right here. Yeah, that's a good play. That's a really good move. I feel like a couple Janissaries just got wasted here. And this is the comment I was thinking of just a couple minutes ago. There's a lot of GB infantry that isn't doing anything. Like, could we maybe take up a position over here and work this way? But all 4 players seem really interested in working up this direction. Whose Janissary is that? I'm not sure. Crucible's line looks a little disorganized right now, but Lanzer's is maybe not doing much better. Because there's a lot of cav floating around here, and there's the Janissary. So these guys are definitely, going all out for this section of the map. And I feel like England and Spain are having a more casual, just general infantry shootout, lights on lights here. But I'm identifying like these 3 infantry units, and I'm like, could you move over here? Like, what would happen? What would happen if the GB infantry moved this direction? That cav isn't a threat, right? But you come in from over here, and you force the Spanish maybe to pull back to that. This still raises the question of who wins the Ottoman firefight, and I think Crucible is kind of winning it right now. Actually, fairly decisively. He even has some lights that would be profitably deployed kind of in a line right here. I think this unit needs to withdraw. Well, they're going to rout, so maybe not, but both teams clearly are assigning a lot of priority to this area. Rally, okay, maybe really could have just targeted that unit at 38. Okay, yeah, and now the lights are moving into that position. I like that a lot. I feel like Crucible's Ottoman is getting a big advantage over Lanzer's. And I couldn't tell you why. I mean, this is basically a variance thing. Whoever got more people shooting. So the Ottoman Lights are going to get a chance to wreak some havoc. And over here on the GB side, the GB Lights are kind of finally routing the Spanish ones, which is exactly what you'd expect. But I really want to be like, dude, why, like, these units back here, like, let's explore a flank over here. Or if we acknowledge that Lanzer is losing the game against Crucible right here, which I think is true, how can we help him? Crucible has 2 cav units back here that 20 and 53 aren't the healthiest, but they could be doing something. And this unit should definitely be changing its target to something here. I think he does that now. Yeah, he pulls it back. So Spanish Cav gets involved. I think Spain is concerned. I think if we were gonna, point fingers or whatever, like Lanzer was really interested in pushing the flank on the Spanish right here, and he moved, a couple units of infantry right here to engage Spain. And he was like, oh yeah, that's Crucible who's actually playing on my left. I kind of forgot about that detail. And playing Crucible with anything less than 20 units seems like you're walking yourself into failure. Bold move, of course. Kudos. Good job. Nice attempt. But if Spain just plays really defensive and doesn't let itself die, and you decide to fight an 18 versus 20 against Crucible, the outcome of that is pretty obvious. And I think that's what we're watching right now. And at this point, it seems Crucible's decided he's won. And he's pulling his army back. And he doesn't see any risk of the Spanish army being flanked that dramatically from this direction. And so Crucible starts pulling his army back. And my guess is he's going to want to redeploy through here. Spain is going to shift over to the right. And there aren't enough Ottoman units left from Lanzer to really pose a credible opposition. So Crucible's moving his whole army, obviously, this direction. Now, GB looks like they're disengaging. And we're probably gonna wind up repositioned with both armies, something like this. And I'm going to assume that the control point for this map is the center of this village. That's just a guess. I didn't actually check it out. So let's move in a fast forward here. Because I think the balance of power bar down here tells us that the northern oriented team is heavily advantaged. That's a Coldstream Guard. That's something interesting. So obviously, Crucible is moving his army back this direction. Dincy is kind of moving to the right. And it might be a while before we get some actual interaction, because if the control point rule is in place, then the disadvantaged team on the south can really kind of sit and think about their position. The northern team that's advantaged can really just kind of fortress out what they're doing. And these games can drag on for a long time. Side note, if you're interested in following this, there's a Discord called NTW Community. And I'm sure somebody helpful like Theodore will put a link to that in the comments of this video. Please do so. And we're going to watch the game. And I don't want to fast forward because I want you to see the whole game. But if you're watching this on YouTube, you might actually fast forward a little bit. But we're going to do a video of the whole game. If you're watching, feel free to fast forward a few minutes. And these guys are just going to kind of shoot at each other a little bit. Crucible still got a bunch of units back here. And there's not really a front. I wonder why he moved those units way over there. My take is that this team is in control of the point. The balance of power bar to your left suggests that they have many more soldiers in their army. And if I wanted to offer a, hey, how did we get here? Just somehow in this fight, and we could have slowed it down, and, Crucible just had more soldiers shooting this direction, shooting that direction. I don't think that the plan from Lanzer was a bad one, but he got a bunch of soldiers caught in this little trap here, and Spain showed up. In Spain made the attack that direction, and they just got two pinchers. I remember a game, if we're gonna take a minute. Riskguard once upon a time did a thing. You can actually deploy up in this valley or ridge thing, and he played. It was either a 1v3 or a 1v4, and he brought a bunch of grenadiers, and he played a 1v3 where he just retreated up and camped up in this valley with and he used the grenade ability a lot, and Riskguard technically won a 1v3, although obviously that's some bullshit, but technically he did it. It's probably a video on his channel about it. And again, we are waiting for these guys to figure out how they want to end the game. It's pretty clear that the northern side team is advantaged here. And it is, I guess, neat that the battle has devolved into a fight in the middle of the valley in the little town here. Again, this, if we zoom out, this map is kind of interesting on a 3v3 or even a 4v4 basis. There's other than here, I guess, there's not a whole lot of clear areas to engage, so you can get some weird situations and stuff. If you were fast forwarding from YouTube, this is about the time where you might hit the go back to play button, because maybe these guys are going to start fighting. My big questions on this game: how much better are the GB infantry versus the Spanish? Because that kind of seems to be where we're at right now. I mean, the Ottoman armies kind of cancel each other out, but we're in endgame, and you have British infantry versus Spanish, pretty much. And the accuracy and morale stats are going to start to matter here. Crucible does not have a lot left. And the Spanish infantry is having to be very aggressive. Obviously not without any ammo left. Create some casualties. We're starting to get low there. And I think this is starting to look like an endgame where the strength and accuracy stats of the British infantry might just win it. It's a very strong endgame unit to have. A cav unit at 50. Can they get anything done? Crucible's doing his best. Can we buy calls on Fed's GB Cav? Spanish have Cav going through again. That unit can square. So can that. A lot of hope being placed on these two cav units right now. Oh, couldn't. Can we? No, we couldn't square here. Get out. But I'm starting to think that the just raw strength of the GB infantry might carry this one. These cav units are juicy, though. Juicy. Here comes the flank. Foot at 53. Oh my god. That's a good charge. That's a really good charge. This is going to come down to one of those grassy games where both teams have 3 units. And then it's just luck of the draw, pretty much. I don't think that either team won this game. I don't think either team lost this game. I think this game just kind of happened. And it's hard to tell who's who. Looks like Crucible just has a general left. But it was neat to see a game played kind of on this map. I don't think I've ever done a video on this map, but interesting fight in the corridor here. Obviously looking to gain this entry point into the village is what I think the players were thinking. Neat game. Neat game. Good to watch. And what do we have here? Just a bunch of infantry just going in for melee everywhere. Like, this is the end of the game. This is what tells me that nobody won and nobody lost this game. Like, they just attritioned each other to a point where here we wind up. This is where we are. Okay, fine. Fine. Great. And it so happened that the team of Fed and Lancer came up on top, Dincy and Crucible. Sure. I don't think anybody won this game. I don't think anybody lost this game. This game just kind of happened. So, I enjoyed watching it, however. Thank you, gentlemen, for sending me the replay. And my name is Jay Martin. I'll see you in the next video.